Oh my God, you guys, the funniest thing just happened. My mailman, Bobby, who I absolutely love, he has the biggest heart. He's so just naturally kind and loves his job and has an enthusiasm for life, and he's amazing. He just came to the door with a package and he's like, oh, look at you looking all stylish. And I was like, oh, I'm on camera doing this and that. Come to find out, both him and his mom are really into astrology and tarot and just basically our cosmic alliance with our helpers and spirit guides and all of that. So I was so excited. So I was like, okay, you have to go on, do this and that and that, and then I'll do a reading for you and your mom. I love when people connect to that, because I feel like there is this thread of humanity where people are always looking for the road of hope, inspiration, connectedness, all of that. And it's so important because think how kind of like flatline or one-dimensional life can be if you just woke up, you just ate your food, you just went to your job, you just did everything like a robot, came back, watched some shows, went to sleep, got up and did that again. That kind of that lack of zhuzh and light and excitement that we should all have, right? And I've got to tell you, I get that more and more in my vocation and what I do now more than any other time in life. Even when I was like lauded, when we were, I remember I was doing these classes and I was going to Beverly Hills all the time and get all dolled up and everybody's fawning all over you and it's all this stuff. And it was like I had won this contest for modeling, and then we were in this academy and everybody's just like ridiculously good looking and young and all this stuff. But there was such a vain, empty, hollow thing to it. And I just remember going, this is crazy. It's like, and I also felt that when importance is placed too much on the physical and the way people physically look, people aren't really listening to what they have to say. I remember one time Paulina Poroscope was talking about that. She was in an interview and the interviewer was very like marginal and talking about, oh, you must have been so happy you had this and that. And she goes, oh yeah, but that was a time in my life when I discovered, and he literally shut down her viewpoint on the world. And she's very, very bright. And you could tell she was insulted, but it was like she just kind of picked herself up. So it's one of those things that there's all kinds of yo-yos and there's all kinds of trade-offs in life, but I am the most happiest where I am now. And I am really kind of calling out to everybody to make this your year. And the way you can do that is ask yourself this, what do you love to do? And I really had to relegate what I love to do to the front lines as opposed to being a little extracurricular. I mean, I would come home after working, catering and working for Whole Foods and doing all that because I really needed the social at that time and to be out and do that. And I loved it. But I'd be so tired that I had just 10-20% left for tarot, for the things that absolutely called to me. And then I realized, hey, your plan A, B, and C has to be what you love. And I just bye-bye to work. I remember too, the universe was, you remember I was saying the universe really makes things obvious to you? Well, I even said, I was anticipating this thing and I said, you know what? I have a really kind of lazy, not nice person that I work for at times, and if they do this other negative reinforcement, because I very rarely heard thank you, good job, or whatever, and I would really go for it and go that extra mile. I said, I'm going to quit right then. And they did exactly what I kind of pictured in my head. It's like the universe brought it to me and I said, oh, that's very nice. Well, guess what? I quit. I said, in a perfect world, I'd give my 2 weeks, but we all know what's going on here. So goodbye. And I'm like chasing me up the stairs. Well, Melanie, what can I do? And I was like, nope. Where's the paperwork? Let's do this right now. No more of any of this. And that's what it was. This is not what I love to do. I don't like to stand around and be just driven into the ground with no appreciation. So ask yourself, am I in a job where, and this is a thing too, if you are in a job, and this is a thing where people think I really need this paycheck, that's where they get roped in and chained into things they don't necessarily have to do. It's like, you don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want, and you have the capacity to have a great time in the learning process of what you're doing and learning as you're going to. But you really need to keep asking yourself, because this is huge. You have more options than you realize. There's so much more out there. Now, listen, I started to also marginalize myself when I came to this. I didn't understand that much about YouTube. I just knew that when I channeled, some amazing things happen, and a lot of, people got uplifted, they got righted, they got situated, they got motivated, and it felt really good. And I was like, well, YouTube, as we know, is kind of like a crapshoot, and that whatever they want to promote or whatever eyes are on, and at any given time, people can just take off. And I'm kind of disappointed in little ways at TikTok that you have some people that have millions of followers and they literally just get on screen and they just scream crap, or they mimic things that they've seen. And I thought, what is going on? But then I thought, well, who are you to judge? Because one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Like maybe that gets somebody hyped up and they think it's great and they're excited about it. Same thing with my good fortune and success in this. I really was so blown away even when I reached, my 10,000 subscribers, because that seemed like the biggest goal out there when I first began. And if you guys are YouTubers, just remember when you got your first 10, then your first dozen, and it was so amazing, right? And then when it started to snowball, and what happens too is sometimes we plateau and it stays there for months. It's just be so happy that, we always have other options too. And it's funny when you're living in that state of high vibrational acceptance and gratitude, more things come your way. It all snowballs. You feel good. You see all the options and opportunities out there that you haven't seen before. That's one thing for me too, where I'm I didn't think that I was very business minded, because I knew I was very artistic, and it was I'd make things, put them away, and I wouldn't list them, show them, or have a way to promote them. But as you kind of watch, learn, and observe, you see all the options that are out there for you. And also we have to remember, sometimes the good is hidden. I never take somebody at face value right away. If something's going on, I always say, you know what, if this person is inattentive, maybe a little agitated or whatever. Let me give you a prime example. When I started watching, of course, my new fave show, the Impractical Jokers, I didn't like Sal that much. I thought he was like a big man baby. I'm look how much he complains and how many phobias he has. But the more I watch him, he's so endearing, because I thought, look how this wonderful, big-hearted man, I was really watch him in the nuances. This big-hearted man goes through life, and he's so sentimental when he talks about his friends, and the way he compliments them, and he grabs his heart and he thinks about things. Who cares if he's a germaphobe and he doesn't want other people to cook for him, and he doesn't want to touch that? I now like those. I like oddities. I like quirkiness about people, because God forbid everybody was the same, these cookie cutter things sometimes now I find that people, the more super polished or perfect they seem, that's kind of agitating, because so much work and effort goes into that, right? What is that all about? There's a lack of just, pouring forth authentically when that happens. So I love that people that repel from something, that are, really grossed out by something, that what they get embarrassed over, what they feel really connected to, and things like that. And it's so I'm really into observing what I like about people, places, and things, as opposed to what agitates me. So know that sometimes things really are hidden, and remember right now that everyone is doing their best. They absolutely are. So sometimes when people are tired, from personal experience, Ian is very rarely unwell or hurts himself. And the other day, I had a trying day, because some of my days literally start 5:30 with Hagen, and I'll go through and I'll be answering questions, I'll be taping, I'll be doing private reads, I'll be doing jewelry, and everybody, thank you guys when you DM me that you're I know you're really busy. Guess what? I'm not so inexplicably busy that it's a hardship for me to answer you. Otherwise, I would put off for days. I like that. That's something I choose to do, interacting and answering DMs. I love you guys. It's one of my favorite things. But there are days where all of a sudden, you're at your bandwidth, and he came home and his foot hurt. So he started, just going on about it. He wasn't kvetching or he wasn't whining. He was just saying, this bone did this and that. And then all of a sudden, all these weird thoughts started traveling. You're oh my gosh, what if he's hurt to the extent that he's home every day and I have to cater to him, and I have to do because I am doing the cooking and the cleaning and all the stuff that he normally does. And I was what if I have to do this every day? I'm I felt this oppressive kind of energy come over me. And I was would you just calm down? His foot is just sore. And how about you listen to him and offer him love and support, as opposed to think how it's going to affect you negatively? Isn't it funny how we will circle back to ourselves? Oh man, now I'm going to have the lion's share. Now I'm going to be exhausted. Now I got to cook. I was doing that. And I was be fortunate that you have a family and the resources to do this for. So know that everybody's doing their best. And please, if somebody in your family is oh, I have a stomach ache or an ailment, have love and sympathy and compassion, and just listen for that moment. They don't want to go on forever. And if they do, and they kind of cross that boundary where they're turning you into the agony aunt, just kind of slowly shut it down and be listen, I love you, and if there's anything that I can do for you, I would love to do that. And kind of then go your own way and set a kind of path where you're able to move in that direction. Because sometimes people, if we are the font of giving and they see that ever-flowing, lovely chocolate fountain coming, they're going to, oh, let me do this, let me do that. So don't make yourself a dog's body, but, do offer love and care, because think how it is to not feel well. Oh, turn that around. I remember days where I'm very rarely unwell, but I have had days where I was like really achy, and every once in a while where it was like things really took effort. So I was so happy when either Joni or Ian, they bring me coffee, they bring me food, and I could just kind of work from my bed and do stuff. It's like that's very rare, but when that happens and they care for me and show love and concern, it means a world of difference. So let's really remember that for people and show that. And remember, you know, you've got what it takes to have that love, to have that compassion, to have that care, and you're able to do it. And you guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much again for all your love, support, your comments. I swear that I'm having the best time over on TikTok too. They're funny. Everybody's coming out with these great reads. They're very energetic. They're really cool. And I'm really excited about it because it's a different kind of energy. Like I usually start my morning with that and I feel like, woo, it's like popping with energy. It's a lot of fun. So if you guys want to start expressing yourself in certain ways and you might be a little bit, you know, it's like you kind of want to take that baby step. TikTok is perfect for it. You basically you can do 15 seconds to a minute, talk about anything. There's a million hashtags. People are talking about the greatest things and the funnest things, things that are inspiring, artistic endeavors, sharing things. And you know, it's very cleansing and wonderful to be able to express yourself in areas that you're interested in or have a little bit of expertise in, right? Some people, they have very little finite art things, and it's really, really great. So I'm really excited about that. So again, you guys, love and light, thank you. Please go over to IG and check out. Hopefully I'll have that stuff up tonight. I got a kind of crazy schedule, but I definitely want to get the first batch of the fire sale jewelry up there. And, you know, I'm just excited for spring. I feel the warmth in the air. I see the sun. I'm really excited. I got to go to the grocery store. I kind of like it. I have the best time going with Hagen now because he's hilarious. You know, like he'll pick up a pineapple and he'll start, let me pull this leaf out. I'm gonna be like, what you doing over there? And he's like, oh, this shows its ripeness. And it's so funny to see like this 17-year-old that's really into like quality fruit. It's just a weird thing. It's a fun time. So it's always some weird adventure over there too. It's like, that's how I want myself as well as family, friends, and people to see life as fun little adventures and look for the good and the enriching aspects of these things, because it does mean, you know, we view the world through a different lens, a healthier lens, and it's important to do that. So you guys are amazing. So I'm going to take my stylish self, but my socks don't match, and I don't know what I'm really wearing on the bottom, which is funny, but I'm like, que sera, it just is what it is. So I love you guys, and I'm going to go upload.